I'm a huge Broad City fan, and it feels like, watching that show, and I definitely, my wife and I rewatched it during COVID again, which was a really fun experience. Um, Watching it, just it feels like this incredible thing where you and Abby had 100% freedom control over what you wanted to say, and it's just like so your show and your vision. Is that true, or is it like were there sort of secret conflicts with the network behind the scenes, or was it difficult, or was it as sort of easy to pull off as it not easy to pull off, but like easy to make it what you wanted as it seems?
Oh, I mean, it was never easy. It was always like incredibly laborious. We were really like birthing something over and over and over again. I think that having made 35 short films in 2 years is what made this whole thing possible. Like, you don't really get queer Jewy women at the center of TV shows or films very often. And and certainly not women who are seeking pleasure and sex and drugs and self actualization so blatantly. Um, so I think that's what made it all possible. Like we were really dedicated, kind of to the point I was saying before about like not I can't really focus on how I hope to be received. That really always ends up in a diffuse middle ground creatively. Um, just like that for Broad City, focusing on our little world of the web series for 2 years and producing so much, so much work, not only prepared us for the actual labor of the TV show, but exemplified undeniably that we had a vision. That like the
Yeah.
best thing you could do with that vision is leave it alone. And TV was so different at that time. I mean, like it's so crazy. I feel like such a, progressive person who wants to confront change with grace, but the pace of change in the world is really overwhelming.
Hmm.
And to think about Broad City premiering 11 years ago, and now I don't really know what TV is, like there's not really like a broadcast shows that you tune in. We were Wednesdays at 10:30,
Yeah.
which now
Comedy
is the
Central, yeah, it doesn't exist at all in the same way as it did, I think, when you premiered.
yeah, I'm not sure how it does, honestly. I was gonna
Yeah.
say that, and then I was like, I actually don't even know how to word it because I don't know the way in which it
Yeah. I mean,
exists.
it still does exist, but it's not the same in
Like I
terms
guess
of
more as
creating
like,
original stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like it's more like IP now, not
Yeah.
only Comedy Central with a library of IP, but IP itself. And it's like for
Hmm.
me, such a nostalgic brand that like it was always the first channel I turned to when I was a kid
Right.
on
Yeah. Me
TV.
too.
At first it was 50 on Long Island, then it was 45 on our cable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, TV is just so different. It really blows my mind to think about how much has changed in 11 years that I couldn't have thought of. So there was more democracy in creating TV available at the time, and we had fabulous leaders on the Comedy Central side, Kent Alterman, Brooke Posh, and Sarah Babineau, who were really protective. There was like shit that we had to curb or soften or chose not to do ourselves or whatever, but like it was really always from the inside out that we were
Yeah.
making that show.
Yeah. Is there an example of anything that you're thinking of, that something you wanted to do that maybe you were either talked out of or didn't happen because you, for
You
whatever
know, it was so
reason?
crazy. We were going to that Birthright episode. We were actually going to film in Israel,
Oh wow. Yeah, because
and
that's the one where you're on the plane to Israel,
yep,
but then you don't make it there. And I guess
yep,
that was a
we do not make it there.
decision based on what?
There was like violence happening between
Uh,
Israelis and Palestinians, and we like didn't know. I don't think we had like either one of us had taken our journey into understanding the situation there to the degree that
mhm.
we do. but like it was just a bad vibe, and we were like promised all this protection,
Yeah.
army protection, you can film and there will be soldiers there with guns, and we were like, wait, what are we doing? We have to fully pull the plug. This is not appealing and does not sound, that's not what safety sounds like. And yeah, we pulled it. We decided just
What was
let's
the
just rewrite it.
what was the storyline in Israel that
It's unfortunate. It was really funny. It was really funny. It was it included the Red Sea curing my back knee. It aspired to having you know, uh one of the few very famous Black Jews representing Jesus, like perhaps Zoe Kravitz representing
mm,
Jesus, in a mirage on the desert. It was really funny. But we just were like, we have to rewrite this. We have to rewrite this. This is
and
really feeling strange.
that's how it became the episode that took place on the plane?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I forget what the finale was of that season, but that it was like a two-parter. It was going to be an hour. And it just got really scary at the last minute. And our director, Lucia Agnello, one of the creators of Hacks, was
Yeah.
like literally walking to the door with her suitcase to go location scout and when she got the call that we were like, we can't do this, dude. This is freaking us out.
Are you glad now that you didn't do an episode in Israel? I feel like that's the kind of thing that would probably not age as well as you would have liked.
I'm very glad. And I actually feel like, our values now are related to why we pulled the plug then.
You mentioned that it was, difficult to walk away from Broad City, even though it was your decision. I have a friend who still, I believe, has not watched the very last episode because she's
Ah,
such a big fan and does
ah,
not want it to be over. I have to check in with her if she's seen it, but
wow,
that's how much she loves your show that she
I get
cannot bring
it.
herself to watch the final episode.
I
Um,
get it. I get it.
can you talk a little bit more about that decision and what made it so hard and sort of then having something like that was your home and then and walking away and not knowing sort of what comes next.
Um, to speak to your friend's decision not to watch the last episode, that is one way of dealing with an ending. It's not like necessarily a denial or a not doing
Hmm.
of something, it's a way of
Yeah.
dealing. And it reminds me of like, I haven't watched Broad City since it aired. We would
Yeah.
watch, Abby and I would get together physically as I mean, for most of these episodes, we'd get together physically to watch it arrive on TV. It was unbelievable. I can't believe it now. The way, also like we were saying, the way that TV used to actually occur in real time as a
Yeah, at a
con-
time. Yeah.
yeah, at a time as a connective cultural event. Um, but the decision to end Broad City came from within. We had produced so many episodes and seasons we were so proud of. And we felt like we were starting to shift into a place where somewhere between didn't want to and couldn't tell the stories of fledgling 20 somethings anymore. Our ages, we were like in our 30s, and also we had just done it. We made 50 episodes and we wore every hat. We were the head writers, we wrote scripts, we were the executive producers, we rewrote the scripts according to production limitations. We were the stars, which was like this all consuming thing that I'll speak for myself, like just turned me inside out with my like muscles and organs on the outside of my body, my heart and my mind on the outside of my body. And we directed episodes and we were in the edit. The show is also would also with our press, with our little press tours that we did, the show was taking 11 months of a year per season. And after 5 years and after 10 years of the Broad City universe from the web series to the TV show, we just knew that we had to do the hard thing of wrapping it up and leaving it as a present, or like it feels like 5 gifts to give people, 5 albums. It's like a box set. That's how it felt. Like we have this box set, and it's really hard. And like our contracts went for 7 seasons, and we just felt that this was really, I think, the most honorable. This would honor the creativity the most. You know, we felt ourselves no longer burning out and no longer being able to serve at the quality that we had for 5 seasons. And, you know, I think we take that responsibility really seriously.
Why do you think you haven't watched it since it ended, and do you think you ever will?
You know, my like the pilot I've seen a million times. I mean, I've seen all these episodes, you know, 7 times with edits and this and that, but and then seeing it on air. And my husband and I watched the second episode, and we could only make it through an act. We were dying laughing, dying laughing. But it was like, okay, just one act, and like we'll pick it back up. And
Yeah, take it slow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's almost like looking at your high school yearbook, you know, or like old photo albums. Like it feels so personal, and you know, registers in my body as something different, I guess, than a viewer consuming it as art. It feels like this personal record that brings me back to that time. And it's while intensely joyous, really intense. And I don't think I have the space to have all those feelings.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now.
Broad City, like everything else, is IP now. I mean, you could there could be somebody, you know, wanting to bring it back. Is that something you would even, you know, contemplate at this point?
I mean, I would definitely contemplate it. And it would be so fun. I think creatively, you know, I shouldn't speak for Abby.
Yeah.
I'll speak for myself. Creatively, I feel like I need to understand who I am as a solo voice before re-entering such a magnetic, all-consuming duo and team. You know, we had many talented writers on Broad City, 3 of which created Hacks: Lucia
Yeah.
Agnello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen
Incredible.
Statsky.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it is so fun and so seductive to think about. But I think for, you know, my personal growth, I need to keep taking space to know who I am
Yeah.
aside from Broad City. But I mean, of course, it's like so delicious to think about. And I totally would at some point.